Hey, beautiful people, and welcome to the Beautè Hustle Podcast, where we educate and elevate in the beauty industry, but also having real and raw conversation. I'm your host, Beaute, the Braid Boss, and today, y'all see the scenery, right? It's different. Your girl is on the road in home, St. Louis, okay? And we are at the N.Mitchell Salon, located in Hazelwood off Shackelford Road. This is the owner, the one and only, Naomi Mitchell.
Thank you.
Naomi, so let's tell the folks how you started in the industry.
Wow. Okay. So I started in the industry fairly around legitimately 2019, but I've been doing hair since I was 10. Literally started making money doing hair in high school. So really I've been doing hair for at least 15 plus years. But as far as the industry goes, 2019.
So what was your overall end goal? Like, what made you get into the industry, and what made you think like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is for me, I'm finna go all in?
So growing up, I would go with my mom to the salon. Her stylist name was Kim Jackson, and I just loved the way Kim did her hair. I would just watch. I fell in love with the smell of the salon, the spritz, the magazines, everything about it. And so I knew that I wanted to stay in that atmosphere. You know what I mean? And I used to get my baby dolls just to do their hair. I played in my little sister's hair. Yes, I played in my little sister's hair. Like, I would be like, let me try this look on you. My cousins and everything. Like, my cousin even said to me when we were kids, she was like, you're going to be a hairstylist when we grow up. And I was like, you think so? Oh, yeah. It was definite. I just love everything about the industry. Everything about it just, makes me happy. I'm really, truly passionate about it.
And since you say you started in 2019, that was a little bit before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So how was that? How did you go back to doing hair at home? How was that?
So when I say legitimately, that means I was licensed in 2019. Prior to that, I was already working in the shop, but that was because I knew that my goal was to become certified. So that's, don't try this at home.
Yeah.
But yes, I was already doing hair. I just, I don't know how it is in other states, but in Missouri, if you owe a school, you can't get your license. Yeah, so you can't get your license until you pay that school off. And I owed a school at the time. So it kind of set me back from getting my license. And, somebody actually blessed me and paid that for me.
Come on, bless me.
I know, right? Somebody paid that for me. It was like $5,000 or something like that. And when I was able to get my license, I got it. And I've been running ever since. So overall, though, because I was already working, in the shop prior to, but I was just working to get my license. So that's what I mean when I say legitimately since 2019. But through the pandemic, no, I did not do any hair.
You didn't?
No. Through the pandemic, listen, when it's in you, it's in you. I made wigs.
Okay.
But I never came in contact with people.
Okay.
So how I was doing it, listen, you gotta get it how you live.
You gotta get it how you live.
Put the wigs in like a Snooks bag. I have my mask on, my gloves. They come to the door, I hand them the wig in the bag, okay? Yeah. So with that being said, I sold wigs. It just brought this, creativity out of me. And this is just also to kind of like talk about how I was even in that place. I really did not have to touch any clients because I had saved significantly. So when I had the opportunity to grow and make the money that I was making at the time, I knew that I had to be wise with it. God had literally told me to start saving. I didn't understand why I began to save aggressively, but I didn't know that the pandemic was about to happen, right? So at that time, I had enough savings that me and my family were okay, but I didn't want to touch it, right? I didn't want to touch it, even though that was an emergency. I did not want to touch it. I only spent that money to make more money.
Period.
That was pretty much what I did. I sold tea. What was that ISL? What is it?
ISL the body tea.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was selling tea, wigs, and hair care products.
Period. You got to get it how you live.
Listen, I had to do what I had to do.
See, I did the total opposite.
Really? You were still working?
It was. Now, see, for the first month, I was scared. I was terrified because at the time I literally just moved to Texas. And for the first month, they was snitching on people. They was reporting people to TDLR. People were getting their license taken away. They were getting hit with fines and all types of fees. And I was like, so for the first month, I stayed under the radar, but I'm like, this is my bread and butter. At the time, I wasn't fully with the wigs to sell them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a braider at heart. That's what I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, people just start sliding in the DMs, and I was just praying that this wasn't somebody trying to snitch on me. But
people still wanted their hair done. I mean, it's the truth.
When I say I ate down,
okay. Hey.
I ate down. Them folks was paying whatever, and I'm trying to think, where are you going? Where are you going?
I think it's something about you're already sad. You don't want to look in the mirror and feel ugly too.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Like, no, I gotta at least be cute.
I gotta do something. Like,
people were sitting in the house with their boyfriend. They nah, we're not gonna be depressed and ugly.
To them get out the house.
There you go.
For a few hours to see something other than their four walls. And I'm just like, at the time, I was in the living room with it. I'm like, shoot, hey, they like, look, we don't care. I need my hair done.
That's what it is.
You're just a few years older than me. Mm-hmm. So you've seen a big change within the industry. Yeah. From you going to the salon with your mom to now you owning a salon. Yeah. What are some things that you can say that you've seen evolve, change for the good or for the bad in the hair industry?
So I'm going to acknowledge the good first. Mm-hmm. The evolution that I've seen is that I think we are, in a sense, becoming more about our business on the back end. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that every stylist was like this back in the day, but what I noticed is it was more of like a hustle culture.
It was.
And so now I think that with our generation, we're focused on working smarter, not harder, right? Mm-hmm. And again, this is not everybody, because me seeing that and growing up in that, I still, in a sense, I have that mentality sometimes. I struggle with that. Yeah. And so I'm literally learning to work smarter, not harder. So I think that's something that has evolved with the industry. I believe that we are trying to structure our businesses a little better in this day and age, if you look at it as a business and not a hustle, you know. What else can I say? Oh, I would say technology has evolved, right? We don't have to necessarily go out and pass out, you know, flyers and business cards and things like that. I'm not knocking it, right? I'm not knocking it. Yep. But you don't have to really put your feet to the pavement like you used to, you don't. Right? Because of social media. And I think that that plays a huge role in the success of a lot of stylists, you know, people in the beauty industry in this day and age, knowing how to operate social media. You know, seeing the importance of social media with business, right? And so I think that is also another thing. What else can I say? To some of the bad. I sadly, sometimes I think the bad can tend to outweigh the good. I can't really think of all of the good right now. I think there's probably more, but I can't really think of it right now. But as far as the bad, I think that the passion is lost.
I agree.
In a lot of ways, the passion is lost. I think that a lot of people, they view it as only a buck, a quick buck.
I think that too.
And because of that, there's no love in what you do. It's just, look, you got to come with your hair shampoo. You have to, you know, be braided down. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but you got to pay me extra to part. I mean, if you braid, don't the part already come with it? I mean, I don't know.
I'll be confused.
I'm confused. So sometimes when I see these things, it makes us overall look bad because we haven't established many systems, right? And systems are the most important part of what we do. Systems, time management, all of those type of things, showing people that we actually care. That is like kind of what's been lost, right? As opposed to this day and age. Yeah, and then just the lack of professionalism. I just, you know, I think we're always trying to win the battle. We always want to win the fight instead of just knowing how to gracefully bow out. And that back and forth, I think it makes it sadly, as a professional, you're held to a different standard.
You are.
Right? So because you're held to a different standard, you have to respond differently. You have to do things differently, and going back and forth is just not okay. But we have that, right? And with social media, which is one of those, I guess, negative connotations, is everybody has a voice. Everybody has an opinion. So you have, exactly. So you have to be ready for that. And in the industry, you have to be ready for people to not agree, to not like everything that you put out there, right? You have to have tough skin. And I think that this generation is a little more sensitive.
It is.
Okay.
We keep it real and
a
raw.
little more sensitive than back in the day, you know. And me being trained by some of those people from back in the day, it has helped me to gain a little bit of tougher skin in certain areas, right? So as it comes to my work, I can't let you get under my skin if you don't like everything that I do. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Totally fine.
It's totally fine. I'm not gonna get in my feelings about that, right? But I guess, you know, when it comes to the newer generation, you have to figure out how to convey how you feel or what you want to, you know, give to them. You have to kind of tread lightly because it's different. They receive things differently. And we're in a time or a day and age where, you know, we're learning to communicate better with one another because it hasn't always been like that. We've always been operating on tough love for so many years, and that just doesn't work for everybody. And I think that that's what, you know, we have to learn about this particular generation that we're, you know, coming into or that we're dealing with.
So one of the things I want to touch on that you said is about the money and the passion. A little while ago, on one of my previous episodes, I talked about how a lot of people, to me, there's a difference between a hairstylist and somebody who just does hair.
Ooh, break it down.
There's a difference.
Okay.
So a hairstylist, you're getting someone who's passionate, who cares. You know what I'm saying? Professionalism. You're getting the whole package. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're not perfect in the beginning, they are diligently doing the work on themselves. They're doing the work on themselves behind the chair to better the work that they're putting out. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
Somebody that just does hair, somebody who they're good at what they do. We grew up, we know the people in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she could do a bob, she could do a quick weave, she could do a sew-in, they could do braids or whatever. And they just figure, oh, I'm good at this. I can make money from this.
What you just said.
It wasn't until a little bit after the pandemic, because in 2015, that's when the Supreme Court law went into place with all 50 states. With you don't have to have a license to operate in a salon doing braiding or natural hairstyling. Yeah, Erykah Badu's hairstylist took that to the Supreme Court back in 2015. So that is why after 2015, you guys seen, like I said in my last episode, a lot of people that do hair in salons. So once that happened, that took the whole aspect of them, one, having to go to cosmetology school, learn sanitation, learn professionalism. That took all that out the window. So now what you have is people in salons solely operating off a hustle mentality, off of what they know how to do that's going to make them money. They are driven by the money and the money only. You know, now sometimes that it can change where they see they can make money off of it. They're making good money off of it. And like, okay, I really want to turn this into a business. Like I found my passion. I really want to change my mindset. You do have some people that do that. But unfortunately, in this day and age, because we're going to keep it real and raw, what you guys are dealing with is people who just do hair. So unfortunately, when that law went to Supreme Court, passed that law, that's why people are running into a lot of people that are doing hair, and they're like, oh, she's unprofessional, she's not on time, there's no sanitation. You see those people that do hair getting on social media, arguing back and forth with the clients and everything like that, because they're not trained. They didn't learn any of that. They didn't have, by law, they don't have to. They don't have to. So, baby, they done pass, go collect their $200, you know what I'm saying, and run around the board with it. Versus us, we took the time to go to school. And the school taught us professionalism. Not only did the school teach us, but our experiences with being attached to people who were in the salons. You know, my mom did hair, you know what I'm saying? So we saw that growing up. So we're kind of wired different than the new age hairstylists. You know, it's the new school versus old school thing going on.
Yes, it is.
And
it is. I see that all the time.
Yeah, and with the new school, y'all a different type of breed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love y'all hustle.
Yeah.
You know, y'all not afraid to pick that camera up
Yep,
and get that content or whatever.
Yep.
But on the back end, what's hurting a lot of y'all is y'all professionalism and how y'all conduct yourselves. You know what I'm saying? And when you're in a salon, especially a owner, they done been around a little minute, okay? So when they're telling you something, or if they see something that's wrong, you have to understand when you're in a salon, it's not just about you.
Yeah.
You're in a salon. This is the owner's name at the end of the day. Because if you have a bad experience with the client and the client go on TikTok, baby, they're gonna say the name of the salon.
That's true.
And they're gonna think that the salon in totality and everyone in here acts just like you.
Yep.
So you have to understand when you're behind the chair, it's not about you. And I think that's another thing that holds a lot of these new hairstylists back is
the lack of humility.
Yes.
Yeah.
They think that it's just all about them, how they want to do the hair, how they want it to look. Now look, it's a difference between a client telling you how they want their hair done versus telling you how to do their hair. There's a difference.
Okay.
You can't sit in my chair and tell me how to do your hair, but you can tell me how you want it.
There we go.
There's a difference.
Because they don't know the steps that it takes to get that look.
They don't know. They don't know. And I think that a lot of,
you know, you can't tell me how to do your hair. You can tell me how you want it, but you can't tell me how to do it.
Yeah, and I think that one thing with a lot of hairstylists, some of us are in the mindset of, you're not gonna play with me. Well, I'm standing behind my chair. And when you're behind the chair, you have to build some tough skin. What I call, you gotta get some thug in you, okay? You gotta get some professional thuggism, okay? But I think that a lot of people, my mama used to say, I have what they call a professional nice nasty. A professional nice nasty.
So what's the professional nice nasty?
The professional nice nasty is when I feel like somebody trying to try me.
Teach me.
So, for example, I had a lady trying not to, so-called trying not to pay me. Never experienced this in my life.
Oh, wow.
Never. Even when I ain't go to college, I ain't never experienced that.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, this is a test. This is a test. I said, well, what we're not going to do is the police will be called because you will not tell me what you're going to pay me and if you're going to pay me. That will not happen today. So I'm going to call the police and they can rectify the situation. Okay, well, we finna change the conversation. We finna change the conversation.
Okay.
Because I could have easily been like, girl, you finna pay me my money. You're not finna walk out here. And at the time I was working from home. You on my grounds. What's up?
Yep, that's true.
I may not be in the loo, but the loo is within me. So I could have did that.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying? I'll let you know real quick what it is and what it ain't. I was very nice about it.
Yeah.
I ain't have no attitude, but the tone in my voice
let you know that I'm standing on business.
Yeah, I'm standing on business and you're not gonna play with me.
Like these boots.
Yeah.
Standing on business.
You're not gonna play with me. And I think that a lot of people, they are in that mentality of, I gotta stand up for myself. You're not gonna play with me. You finna give me my money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's how you go about it.
True.
But they don't know that because they don't have the training.
And you have to have the mindset to actually want the training.
Oh, talk about it. Clock it.
You have to want the training. You have to be open to constructive criticism. You have to want to be taught. And again, that's something that I've noticed. And I know this is not necessarily one of the topics, but there's a divide between the white salons and the black salons, right?
Yeah.
So what I noticed is with the white establishments, they can, have this corporate-like atmosphere where they're, paying out and things like that. And everybody is just kind of okay with, the overall growth of the business until they can stand on their own 2 feet. It's a little harder in our community. First of all, because it just trickles back. We don't let anybody in our head, right? We don't typically let anybody in our head, so it's a little harder also for us to operate to that level, but it's also because we've always seen everybody go right into I'm standing on my own. I'm doing this myself.
Yeah.
And that sometimes can make it hard for them to get what they need because it's like, yes, you can do that, but this is what you need. And I'm trying to give you the steps. I'm going to lay it out for you and tell you this is how you get there. And it doesn't have to look exactly like how I did it, but every little piece of the puzzle helps. That is the hard part, I think, or that's the challenge that we're facing, is that it's not being received. It's not being received because we look at the glitz and the glam, but we don't know the work that goes into it behind the scenes. We don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that it took to achieve those things, how tough it can be. And so it's like, I'm trying to tell you, like, I'm giving you this so you can avoid going through what I went through when I was doing this. I want to tell you this is what you can expect. You can expect to pay a lot of fees that you didn't know would even add up, right? When it comes to establishing a business, when it comes to even being behind a chair, this is what you're probably going to run into. You're going to run into people that's not going to respect your time. How you handle it is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like we were just talking about. But that is, that receiving it.
Yeah, and I think that was my point that I was trying to get to. A lot of people operate in entitlement and in their ego behind the chair.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're not able to receive what needs to be received in order for them to elevate, especially the internet boomers, the ones that had the gift, hustle mentality, picked up the phone, ran with it. Now they got all the followers, they got all the clout. You can't tell them nothing because you ain't got as many followers as I have. And I'm fine at what I do, so what can I learn from you?
Let me tell you something. You can learn something from anybody.
Anybody.
I remember when I was working I worked in a barber and beauty salon when I first started. In my mind, what do I really need? But let me tell you, I was watching everybody. Everybody had their own different cutting techniques, but I was watching how everybody moved, right? Whether I was busier than the next person next to me, I still learned something from her. When she said, oh, you just got to put a little more product on the back. It doesn't matter that our work looks completely different, but that small piece of advice made a huge difference in my overall finish. I can't say, I'm doing more heads than you. No. Thank you for that. Yeah. Because I needed that.
Yeah. And she didn't have to say anything.
And she didn't have to say nothing. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, it looks good, but it's not. And just that one piece of advice. Yeah. I didn't look down on the next person or any of that. I was willing to learn from everybody. And that is the mentality that I wish most people could have. Not saying like, oh, I think everything is right. I have my flaws too. But I just know that what got me how I've gotten this far is because I've remained teachable. I've remained teachable. I still to this day learn. I still critique my work. Like as much as people say your work is perfect, it's flawless, I still look at it and try to figure out ways that it can get better. I never feel like I've mastered a thing. Because if I master it, then what else do you? I don't have to do anything else, right?
Have to do nothing
no,
else.
I can't be like that.
I feel that same way with braiding hair. I feel like I'm just now getting the perfect knotless braid, or like the perfect overall of my board braids. Like I feel like, okay, I'm getting somewhere. But that's because, like you said, you remain teachable, and so I'm a complete sponge. Like I don't compare myself to anybody, but I'm studying. Right. I'm studying the overall look of the braids. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like how the content is being taken. You know what I'm saying? Like you just got to be a sponge. You
do. And pay attention to detail. You just acknowledge that. You're looking at certain details that makes a difference. Yeah. The detail.
Because when I started off with the boho braids, it wasn't as full, as voluptuous, you know, because some people like, I don't want the braid to show. And I'm like, well, dang.
You don't want the braid to show. That's possible? To show.
Let me figure out how what?
That's possible?
Yeah. Oh. I can show you. Like, it's possible to wear, like, you're over putting more boho, but the technique, I tell you off camera.
Okay, gotcha.
But it took me about 3 years to get this technique down. Okay. To where.
So, see, 3 years. But somebody else will look at that.
Consistent. I'm like, I got it, because I see it here. I see it in my head. You know
but you just said 3 years. How many people would be willing to wait? Somebody that comes in and just wants to do that, and you tell them 3 years. They don't want to hear that. No, I'm not waiting 3 years. I need it now.
But that's how long it took.
But that's how long it took.
And then even with people like, say if I was to put it on YouTube or sell it as a webinar, people would think, okay, all I got to do is watch this video or take the class. The next head going to be like that. No. Absolutely not.
Not at all.
This microwavable mentality that people have is
what's making it harder.
Yes, they make it so much harder on themselves. Like going on YouTube University or whatever, taking a class, that does not mean after you watch that video or after you take that class that you're just going to be like them. We talked about this in my last video with Jay Renee. Like, you got to consistently apply yourself. Consistently do it, whether that means you got to get models, use your family members, somebody. You got some loyal clients that have come in and let you play in their head. That they will do that. They know they ain't gonna get up looking a mess.
Right.
But you know that your objective is to perfect whatever it is that you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what would you say is your specialty, your forte? What do you specialize in?
First and foremost would be hair care. Hair care is my overall passion, but I'm mostly known for pixie cuts, short hair styling. That's pretty much all I do. I pretty much took everything else off my books. I've decided that's my niche. That's what I'm most requested for. I'm rolling with it.
That's it.
That's it.
You done with no sew-ins, no?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
So, cause for some beginner hairstylists, you know, I preach, especially with being a braider, that you do have to be, in the beginning, versatile.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? With just getting the people in your chair, perfecting your craft. You know what I'm saying? You never want to stop your money flow or put a cap on yourself.
Correct.
Because you never know what may be your niche, and you may find your niche on accident.
It's true. And that's exactly how it happened.
Really?
That's exactly how it happened. Prior to, I was known for doing bobs in the beginning, quick weave bobs, whip a bob up real fast.
Yeah.
I realized, though, when I was in beauty college, it's just the way my mind worked. I was getting quick weaves done by my friend in high school. Can you compete with a person that has no bills? They can automatically underbid you, right? So from a business perspective, I realized that I couldn't limit myself to, okay, this is what I'm specializing in, this is what I do. I was like, no. I quickly realized that, first of all, and I've never had issues where I took people's hair out with their quick weaves or anything like that. So like I said, hair care has always been my main passion. But as far as like styling goes, that was the start. I realized that it was a lot of competition there. And what am I doing to set myself apart? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you, right? So I made up in my mind that I would learn how to do short hair because I realized that there's a certain caliber of woman that prefers her hair short.
Very classy.
It's a certain caliber of woman. Yes, exactly. And they have to come all the time. Right? So what I realized is when I was doing the styles that lasted a little longer, I would be popping one week, the next week it would slow down.
Talk about it.
Yeah. It would slow down. So I was like, what can I do that is going to keep me busy behind the chair? Because I made up in my mind that this was going to be it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. I'm doing this thing full time. Because the only time I really entertained going to, like, I was like, well, maybe I could get a little part-time job. And the guy that I was working for at the time was like, Naomi, don't do it. You're gonna be stuck in the cycle. You ain't gonna be available. You know. And I was just like, but I need to make the money. And it was because I was mostly doing everybody that 1 week, and then the next week I had nobody. So I realized I had to broaden my horizons. You can never say what you won't do because like you said, you want to be well-rounded enough that you could do anything if it came down to it.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like I could do anything.
Yeah.
If I had to make it, I could braid a head if I needed to.
Yeah.
Now, again, I made the conscious choice once I realized, because how it started for me is I would just ask somebody, like if they had short hair or if they came into the beauty college, like, can I, nobody wanted to do short hair. we in an era where it's mainly wigs and it's weaves, it's those type of things, right? And so I just knew that if I get this is going to be the thing where it'll never slow down, right? Now, sometimes I regret it because I'm always busy, but that's what I wanted, right? So I would literally just ask, hey, can I get the short hair ticket? Because all the other girls like, because it wasn't popping to them, right? Yeah. It wasn't popping to them. So I was like, you know, and most of the women that came in that had short hair, they were older, they were more mature, they were probably in a corporate world, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get this. And so I asked my friend who had a nice following. You know how it go?
Yeah, let's barter.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I asked her, I said, can I try this look on you? Like, can I? And she was like, yeah, come on, let's do it. Did it. Shout out to Bella. I know, I mean, like, I'm just saying, shout out to Bella. When I did her hair, I was just practicing. But she would tag me in everything.
Come on now.
Everything. Like when I say cross-branding is important. Content. So she would tag me in everything. When I say, after I started doing her and getting that practice and just practicing, and she was doing the content because I was doing content, but I didn't feel like my content was as clean at the time, right? But practicing on her, putting it out there, and after a while, a brand was created. And once I realized that this is, I can market this, right? And I started seeing young girls who were not interested in short hair starting to say, I want that.
Yeah.
And so I started saying, I would get people come to me and say, it doesn't look like an old lady when you do it, right? I mean, I'm young.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm just doing it, right? And then eventually, after doing it for so long, now I can curl a head in 7 minutes. Now it was a business strategy, right? And so then when you become more demanding, now you can charge a little bit more, right? Yeah. Because you're branding yourself. I was branding myself, and once I realized that this is my niche right here, this is it, and I started being requested more for that, I didn't have the time to do the other things like the quick weaves, and I'm not knocking it because I still will do, like my regular has to go out of town, and she says I want a quick weave, I'll do it. Yeah. But I don't want to do it, right? But it's also because I have so many short styles throughout the day that once I get this one longer service, the timing has now shifted. So that was why I was like, I have to do this because my system can be tighter, right? I can see changes in my number. Now, this is just from a business aspect. It doesn't take away the passion, but I see a difference in my numbers, right? Because I'm able to do more and still maintain a certain quality because this is what I'm doing. I have the timing down packed. You can be in and out and you look good. You still have time to take on your day. That's what I pretty much branded myself on, marketed myself on. And like I said, I'm not saying I won't do anything else, but that's just what I chose to do. And it comes with other things. It's not just strictly me just cutting and styling. They get relaxers. They get, semi-permanent colors and things like that, scalp treatments and stuff like that. And I do have my people that sometimes say, I want to grow it out a little bit. And I'll do silk presses every now and again. But really, my goal is to really offer those extra services to the other women in my salon so that they can be able to grow and they can be able to do the things that they have to do because I would like to just strictly focus on
the short hairstyles.
The short hairstyle.
That's amazing. So let's talk about how, because a lot of people, y'all have to understand when you're working in a salon and you are not the owner, this is a good representation of a real salon owner. If your salon owner is not pouring into you, is not blessing your chair, is not marketing you, I'm gonna need for you to run. Find somewhere else to go. I'm for real. Find somewhere else to go. And the reason why I say that is because you have to be careful who you attach yourself to. Don't think just because we are in the same industry and we do the same thing that we are like-minded and have the same goals. a lot of salon owners, and this is why most of their salons are empty, because we keep it real and raw here, and I myself have experienced this. You will have a salon owner who is just about themselves and the money, and it'll show. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes a lot of people, they cover it up with the, oh, I'm going to send people to you, I'm going to post you on my social media, to really cover up the fact that I really don't really care about your progression as a person, or as a hairstylist, or as a professionalism. I'm doing what I need to do to keep you in this chair, to keep that booth rent paid, and to keep my name growing. See what I'm saying? There's a difference when you're dealing with a true vessel of God. There is a difference. Okay?
Thank you, Jesus.
So when you walk into these salons, or if you're wanting to go into an open floor salon, make sure, one, you pray about where God is sending you. Ask him to direct your path.
Yeah.
Also, you need to conduct an interview.
Yep.
Salon owners, conduct an interview. It shouldn't be just about them. They can do hair and they got a clientele, and now it's about if they got a following. Okay? It shouldn't be just about that. And if you walk into a salon and the salon owner doesn't say anything about an interview, can we have an interview?
Yep.
That you already let them know what type of time you on. You are a professional, and you're trying to interview them to make sure this is the atmosphere that you want to be in, and the person that you want to be behind or attach your name to.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, like I said earlier, even though you're in this salon, it's not just about you. It comes down to the person on the name of the building. You should conduct an interview. Just say, can we sit down, have a talk, ask the owner, how long have they been doing hair? Like, what are their goals with the salon? Like, don't think just because you come in to rent a booth that you don't have that type of, what's the word I'm looking for? You have the power to say, okay, this is not for me. This is for me. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, shop around a little bit. And if you are a beginner hairstylist, an open floor salon like this is key.
Girl, can I get a hug? Yes.
There is so much exposure. If you're not here in a booth rental open floor salon, go to a commission-based salon. Either two, okay? This is where you're really gonna learn. You want to talk about that hands-on work? The real work don't start until you leave. If you go to cosmetology school, it doesn't happen until you leave.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And if you working from home and then you want to take a step of faith and come into a salon, this is your school.
Yep.
This is your school.
It's true. It's true.
You are going to, like she said earlier, she was watching everyone.
Yep.
In that beauty and barber salon, studying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And if I didn't have a person, I'd be like, you want me to shampoo your client for you? Just having that team like atmosphere, not feeling like that ain't my job to do that. No, you got to think about where you want to be.
Yeah.
What would you want in a team?
Yes. Because what's going to happen is that client, word of mouth gets around fast. And if you got a client sitting over here, they've probably been sitting there for about 20 minutes or 10, whatever, and the hairstylist is running a little behind or whatever. Let me go ahead and shampoo you. She's just running a little bit behind. I'm gonna take care of you, okay? My name is Beauty. I'm just gonna shampoo you, blow dry until she's ready for you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That client, maybe those 10, 15 minutes she was sitting there, she probably had a negative. She probably had a negative notation in her mind. But because of how, I'm gonna use me for example, I approached her. How I'm taking care of her, her mind is gonna switch. Okay, they working together up in here. She's gonna leave and tell the next person, until the next person, until the next person. And that's what it's all about. Keeping the client satisfied and keeping that money in this house.
What you said.
And you never know. I probably shampooed her. I didn't do her style. But she probably
keep you in mind.
Keep me in mind. Gave somebody else my social media. Referred someone to me. Now I got a client just off of simply saying yes and being available.
Come on.
By helping out.
Yes.
That's what an open floor salon is about. It's not just about you. It's a team. We're working together to make sure this house stays afloat, and everybody that walks in our house is satisfied and happy. You know what I'm saying? We're going to set a vibe. We're going to have a good time. We're going to make sure you're taken care of, and you leave out that door with a good review.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So y'all have to know that, again, it's not about you, and this is your school, and treat it as such. Yeah. You should be a student of all things and all people that walk through the door. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So how long have you been open here at your location?
We have been open here for almost 2 years now. So it'll be absolutely 2 years in March. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in March of 2025, I'm sorry.
And what were, for someone watching this and they want to open a salon, what would you say would be where they can start? Like, what would be their starting point? Like, what are some things that they need to even branch out and open a salon?
First and foremost, good money management skills. And I say that because if you have not gotten money management down pat, elevating to something as expensive as being a salon owner, it will definitely put you in a hole. I would also say that, so when I say money management skills, try to have you a significant savings. If you have credit, maybe lean a little on it just for the sake of building your business. But definitely make sure that you at least have the clientele to keep everything afloat while you're establishing it, because I'm pretty sure you're working somewhere else while you're establishing your new salon. So with that being said, make sure that you have, make sure that you have the clientele to meet the need, but also make sure that before anything else, you can afford to pay for your establishment by yourself.
Whoop.
Don't go into an establishment having to depend on filling the booth, because you're going to find yourself being very frustrated. You're going to find yourself losing your mind. You're going to lose your mind because you're going to be like, oh my God, like I have to figure out how to do this. I may not have the amount, and you will get creative, but the fact of the matter is be able to afford that space by yourself. If it came down to it, nobody wants to pay for their establishment by themselves, but that is the main thing. Your mindset, make sure that you have the mindset that everybody that comes in, you want them to grow. Don't try to hold on to everybody. If they have goals, respect those goals. If they say in this amount of time, I want to have my own, I want to do this, I want to do that, pour into them so they can reach their goals, because you were once at that point where you knew that you had goals. You don't want to be that person or that owner that people have to walk on eggshells when they're ready to go or they're ready to branch off. Show that love to the point that they know, like, when it's time for me to go, I know for a fact she got me, he got me, because they've poured into me this entire time, right? They've kept my goals in mind. That's important. What else can I say? Prayer. I mean, I have to give God glory in everything. That's just me. That's just who I am. He's the center, everything of my life. And prayer definitely got me this far. God sent so many people to pour into me when I was establishing mine. So do the same thing. Pray. God will send the people to come and put the money into your hands to pour into you. And if it's not always a financial blessing, maybe it's just knowledge to tell you what to look for, what to, how to start. Maybe if it's like financing your equipment, look into people who maybe, there may be another salon that's closing and they may be getting rid of some stuff. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to start where you can start. Your people that are with you, they gonna start. No matter if those chairs are ripped up a little bit, that dryer works. You know what I mean? They gonna rock with you regardless. So I just look at it like, don't be ashamed to refurbish some things. In my salon, these stations, they came with this. I just refurbished them. I literally just refurbished them. It was old school, was very, in a sense, outdated. And I just wanted to level it up.
You can't even tell.
You can't even tell. Those were burgundy and pink. Yes, they were burgundy and pink, and I literally refurbished them. So, that's all I can say is if there's a way that you can cut the cost, do that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go in getting everything new. For me, I had a vision in mind because I'm just a visionary. When I have a vision, I got to see it through.
Yeah.
And I saw what it was going to look like. And so when I walked into the space and I saw what it was going to look like, I couldn't stop until it looked like that.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I wouldn't be satisfied walking in here every day and it didn't meet the vision,
Yeah.
right? So God made sure that he sent the people to pour into me. That's a whole nother story because I didn't have a whole lot of money when I actually got the opportunity.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Keep it real and raw. Because they think you got to have all this type of money.
Let me tell you. Now, that was not necessarily my story. Now, I was just telling Kiera this story. And basically, I had $2,000 to my name. Now, you think that all of this, get new dryers, new chairs, the floor mats, getting the floor done, painting, all of that, it was definitely more than $2,000. But I will say this, and I don't think I acknowledged this part of the story. I had my credit together though, right? So I had quite a bit of credit to use. So that did help me a little too. But also when there were times when I was trying to work and I was trying to pay my credit cards right back off. So because I did not want to run up all of my credit to get it done because I was adamant on wanting to keep my credit a specific way. So with that being said, no, I had $2,000 to my name. I was getting to a point, I was in a suite, I was becoming content. I was like, I'm content. At this point, I don't want to have to work all day long. You know, I have 5 children, I'm married. I'm like, I just want to be at home. I think I was getting to a point where I was just like, it just is what it is. I'm just going to stay here and I'm just going to, do this. And all of a sudden, as I'm in a place where I'm like thinking, okay, all I have is $2,000 to my name. I'll just do what I have to do to just start saving up again and trying to get what I have to get. And I got the opportunity. Well, I got a call from Carl Walker. He's the owner of Clippers Barber Salon. He called me. And I kept trying to figure out, why Carl keep calling me? He don't be calling me like that. But he said, Naomi. He kept calling. I said, okay, Carl, what's going on? I'm finna pull up on you. So he came to the suite where I was working at and he said, you ready? You ready to get your own salon? I was like, no.
No.
I was like, no, I am not. Because I'm looking at it like, bro, I'm broke. I don't have, because how I looked at credit is you never use more than you can afford to pay back.
Yeah.
Right? So I wasn't even considering, my credit cards or anything like that when I even thought about going for it, right? So he was like, man, God put you on my heart. He was like, my bun. He was like, God put you on my heart, man. He was like, I couldn't think of nobody else. He was like, and all of a sudden, right before I laid down, I said, Naomi. And I was like, me? No, I'm not ready, And so he said, man, call this number. And he gave me the landlord's information. He was like, call this number. And I was like, I'm just going to call it. I called, talked to the guy, and he was like, well, send me this, send me that, send me this. And I was like, I'm going to send it to him. He going to see I'm broke. He going to see ain't no money in that bank for real. He going to see it. So it is what it is. I don't care because I wasn't looking anyway, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? He considered me. First of all, he said he loved everything that I sent him. He loved the way my social media looked. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
He loved the way my social media looked. He saw that there was a point in time where I had more than enough money in the bank, right, to do whatever I needed to do. He didn't even focus on the fact that I didn't have it in that moment, which is weird because I thought that would have been a deal breaker. No. He said, honestly, Naomi, he was like, I think you're a great candidate. He was like, if you want to move forward, we can. I was like, I said, Lord, if this is not in your will. It was not, Lord, let it happen. I said, Lord, if this is not in your will, I don't want it.
Yes.
I don't want it. Because I don't want the stress. I know that it takes a lot of work on the back end. I'm watching, Miss Green, whose establishment I was working at the time, Beauty and Art, Salon and Suites. I'm watching how, when something goes out, she's under there trying to figure out, what's going on with the water heater or, what's going on. And I'm watching it and she like, you ready? And I'm just looking like, oh man, is this what I'm going to have to do? But I'm paying attention and I'm realizing like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But I just went for it. And so when he said, Naomi, you're a great candidate, let's do it. My prayer was, Lord, if it's not in your will, don't let it happen. And he let it happen. And what happened is I was scared. And my friends, thank God for spiritual friends, was like, I see people about to pour into you. They're going to be writing checks and you going to be, and people going to be, and I'm just like, okay. You know, I'm listening to it. And I'm just like, but who just comes and put money in your hand? Like, they just don't happen.
Yeah.
It was happening. It began to happen. I would literally be at work randomly. One of my client and her husband got out the car and just put a big wad of cash in my hand. And my client said that has nothing to do with my hair. Okay, that has nothing to do with my hair. That means this is a blessing for you aside from my hair. These are people who had no idea what was going on because I kept it to myself. It was personal for me.
I'm about to get up and shout.
It was personal for me, so I could not. And that's just one moment of this happening. I went to church one day. I love to give. It's just in me. I can't help myself. I love to give. I don't care if I'm down to my last. That's just something I love to do. So when I went to church one day, we're trying to reach a goal within the church, and I had nothing to give. I exhausted all resources because I was getting this together. And I'm sitting there and I'm just literally I'm crying on the inside. My bishop looks over at me, Bishop Coleman, Greater Pentecostal Church of God. He looked over at me and he said, Naomi, what's going on with you? You look like you about to be in tears or like something going on with you, something heavy on you. I said, Bishop, I feel bad that I can't give. And he said, see, who wouldn't want to bless a person like that? He leaned over to me and said, and that's why I brought this today. He already had a cashier's check wrote out to me in the amount of $1,000.
Look at God. Girl, I'm about to shout.
And he handed me that check, and I just couldn't do nothing but weep because God, what?
But see, this is what happens when you stay diligent and stay faithful to what God has called you to do. He will send the people on your behalf, even with you not knowing. And you said you wasn't ready. But you know it's not up to us. It is not up to us. We are not the directors or the producers of our lives. God said, you may not feel that you're ready, but I know that you are ready. And I'm going to get you ready. And I'm going to prepare people around you to make sure that you are ready. Every seed that you have sown before that, every person that you have poured into, every dollar that you gave, whether it was monetary, spiritually, advice, whatever, every seed that you have planted, it's your reaping season. That's what he did.
It ain't over.
It's not.
It ain't over.
This is only the beginning.
There's more. Let me tell you.
Okay, girl,
it's more to the testimony.
Over here, girl. God
so
is
let me tell you something.
And girl, keep going.
It's meant for me to tell this because I get so nervous to share this testimony, but it has to be told because I need people to understand the importance. I'm trying to keep it together. The importance of prayer, God's word, seeking him. Because after that was all done, I'm not going to tell you that discouragement did not come up over me, that I was still unsure of what was going to happen. I was scared every day that I walked in here because I didn't know what was going to happen. I have a lot that rides on my back. I wear a lot of hats. So for me, it was like, this has to work, right? Lord, my prayer was that if it's not in your will, don't let it happen. So this has to work, right? I'm sorry. So I was praying, and I was so bogged down because finances were so tight. And I got in the car. I wanted to just stay in the bed, y'all. I'm telling you, I wanted to stay in the bed because I just wanted to give up because I was so overwhelmed. And I just pressed. And I got in the car and I prayed and I said, Lord, I need a strategy. I need a strategy because, Lord, you gave me the resources to start it, but it's getting hard. And so I get to the salon on a Wednesday. And I'm shampooing my client because I know how to put a game face on. I know how to smile in spite of what I'm going through. I know how to put it behind me when I walk in this door. I put my worship music on, and I just allow God to have his way in here because he gave me this. Yeah. So I always have to give him glory for that because, what? Anyway, I'm shampooing my client. And guess what? The prophet came up to her husband, and he said, God told me to ask you, how much do you need? I ain't making this up. This is the God honest truth. He said, how much do you need? I was scared to say because it was a lot to me. And as I was in the middle of shampooing her, I looked over at that man. Because he told me, he said, pride carries a haughty spirit, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Because we don't want to tell people when we're going through, right? We don't want to tell people when we're struggling. And when he said it to me, I looked at him and I said, I need $10,000. He looked at his wife and said, you hear that? She said, yeah, I heard it. He said, what you want to do? She said, let's do it. They came in here by the end of the week with a check for $10,000.
Wow.
That was all I needed to get me over my hump. And I've been running for my life ever since. So when it's in his will, it's going to prosper.
And God going to make a way.
Okay.
And he's going to put people that's going to make it happen for you. This is, God, it's heavy. It's heavy. It is okay. Because God is worthy to be praised.
Yeah.
People need to know about just how good he is, even in the midst of when you're going through, when you think you don't have enough. He's still going to show up, show out, and make a way some way. Because he's a way maker.
Yes, he is.
And when I tell you, if I could be transparent with you, I didn't know if I was going to make it to St. Louis.
Wow.
Literally, didn't know. I made that post.
Yeah.
The folks started reaching out, set up the interviews. Life was lifing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I was going to make it. I didn't. And I was, right as I was about to pick up my phone and text all of y'all.
Yeah.
That I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
Got a phone call.
All right now. Testimony service.
They got me here.
Get out of here.
They got me here. And I said, you know what? I may not have it all together, you know, the whole setup or whatever, but I watch Wallow.
What you said?
If he can get out of jail for serving 20 plus years, he said, all you need is your phone.
Okay.
All you need is your phone and some faith, and go from there.
And people that's willing to be with you in the rain. It ain't got to be all sunshine and rainbows.
I said, you know what? Because I'm stepping out on faith with
what
this
you said.
Coming from behind the chair. You know, that hustle, if I don't know how to do anything else,
okay,
I know how to get somebody in this chair.
Okay.
To make some money to pay a bill. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
But when there's a shift, God says you have greater. You have more.
Now.
You got to go get it. It's not. It may not look like what you want it to look like. It may not be perfect in the beginning. But God said, I'm going to give you the resources. I'm going to give you the resources. And when you work with what you have, when you work with what you have, I'm going to take care of the rest.
Yes, he will.
All you have to do is do your part and show him that you are willing.
Be available.
Be available.
Be a willing vessel. Yeah.
Be willing. Baby, when walking by faith, baby, we are blind. We don't know what we
don't know what we're doing.
We don't know how it's going to work out. But all we know is God gave us a vision. He put it deep down in our souls that this is what we are supposed to do.
Yes.
And prayer is nothing but communication.
Yeah.
That's why your prayer life has to be
strong.
It has to be strong consistently.
Yeah.
And I said, God, I don't know what I'm doing with the podcast, but I've been sitting on this for years. I've been sitting on this for years. I don't know what I'm a hairstylist. But
okay.
I'm a hairstylist. But everybody that knows me know I got a lot to say.
This was meant.
I got a lot
because
to say.
what you're saying right now, literally, it aligns with what I was just speaking about. I just recently had an event where I was trying to bring, our community, create a community where we can offer up resources, right? How to get your taxes in order, how to, prepare for retirement, and being having a mental health advocate, those type of things. And that's new territory for me, though. Okay.
This is
event planning. That's all I'm saying. That's why when you talking, it stirs me up because that's new territory for me. That's that thing where it's like I'm scared, I'm shaking, I don't want to get up in front of people, I don't want to talk, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And it's like at the same time, it's almost like you can't get away from it because
Yes.
you gotta do it.
God
You gotta do it.
A,
He gonna
A.
keep. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's new territory for me, and that's how I was feeling. I was like, I literally cried my eyes out maybe a week before it was getting ready to happen, and I said, Lord, I'm scared. I'm scared. Look, to say, look, I'm scared because this is new for me. I wanted to go right. I don't know why I'm doing this, but then I had to realize, like, okay, I told you your will be done.
Yeah.
So that means, despite of how I feel,
yep,
I have to see it through because this is obviously where you want me to go, and ministry is tied into this.
Yes.
Because what we do even behind the church, ministry is involved in it. It's ministry.
Yeah.
You're touching, you're talking, you're communicating. People trust you when they sit in your chair. So it's all ministry. I didn't realize that I didn't grow up in church, so I've never seen myself being, what I've seen in church. I never felt like that was really me. But God had a different plan for me. He has a different plan for me, and I just have to be okay with whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And this is what it looks like. It's new territory, so it's scary. But I had to do it scared because there's more.
Because somebody said there are their dreams and what they want to accomplish in life is attached to you. With the unknowing. Us doing this here right now, somebody's going to watch this, and just from hearing your story, they're going to step out on faith, get to know God, get in their prayer life. You know what I'm saying? Had we not sat down and had this conversation, if we would have operated in our flesh about how we feel and about how our circumstances look,
Right.
this would not have happened. But I said the same thing before I got that phone call. God, if this is your will, please make a way. Yeah. You know my heart. I know what you called me to do, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it done. I will do whatever it takes. I don't care how much money I have, how much money I don't have. Yeah. That's none of my concern. My concern is doing what God called me to do in his will, his way. Yeah. And the fact that I even made a post and I didn't think nobody's going to respond. I didn't. This is a brand new thing I'm doing. I'm just starting out. And I had over 80 comments. Okay. Of hairstylists, beauty supply stores, salon owners. All I did was, I don't know if they're going to respond, but I'm going to put it out there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It was me. That's how it started with me. Yeah. It was supposed to be sort of like a support group for us. And it got over 100-some comments. And I was like, oh, they taking me seriously.
Yeah.
That means I got to do it. Together. I'm like, right. That's exactly how it sounds. Like the pressure is on. Now I got to do it. And you know how you think, I ain't tripping off of it no more. They ain't tripping off of it no more. And then somebody was like, hey, so when you going to do that? And I was like, oh, you was for real. So that means I got to be for real. And I got to do it.
Honey, we need to talk off camera because this is nothing but God's doing. Because my pastor spoke to me earlier this year in the middle of service. And I was scared. You know your pastor call you out, you're like, oh, Lord. He ain't never done that what I do. Yeah. And he said, I want to tell you Giving up is not an option.
Okay.
Giving up is not an option. And he said, don't get into business with nobody that doesn't love God the way you do. And I said, I know exactly what he was talking about. This right here, all of this was in my mind the night before I went to church. Because I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to reach out to. I don't know who would want to sit down and talk. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And I was thinking of people, but these people have displayed not to judge, but their love of God is not there. You know what I'm saying? And when he said that, I was like, yep, let me go back to the cleaning board.
Man.
And instead of me going into my own understanding, I'm going to pray about it. And I said, God, whoever needs to be on my platform, whoever I need to connect with, send them to me.
Yes, Lord.
Send them to me. Whoever, whatever it's supposed to be.
He's so faithful to perform.
Send them to me. And he did just that. And literally, the 3 people that I'm interviewing, this is nothing but God, and it shows in the conversation. It's nothing but God.
Okay.
This was good.
So good.
This was good. The folks, I'm sure they got some type of inspiration.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what's next for the N.Mitchell Salon? What's next, Naomi? What can the folks be looking forward to?
You know what? I wish I could say for sure what's next. I know that the goal is to continue to grow, be more consistent with connecting with the people. We have another Cultivate and Connect event coming up, top of the year or spring. They tell me not to wait till spring, but that's the goal, honestly, is spring. But just more positivity put out there, more positivity from N.Mitchell Salon, more branding, more growth amongst everybody here that we come in contact with. That's the goal, is to just spread love and positivity. That's what we giving, and I'm just submitting to God's will. So whatever it is He says is next. That's what's next. Because I'm just literally on cruise control. I can't think of nothing else to do or say.
Well, this was an awesome conversation. Baby, if you ain't feel, baby, I don't know. Rewind and watch it again. I don't know. Because I feel just sitting here, like the people in this room were just sitting here listening to the stories, the testimonies, and truly witnessing what God is truly doing and who He is, and He is faithful to His word. Yeah. Baby, if you like this video, you already know what to do. Like it. Comment down below some other topics. And if you are a hairstylist, salon owner, beauty supply store owner, I want to see you. Let's sit down and have a talk. So comment down below. Email me at the email in the description box below so we can connect and really continue to educate and elevate in this industry. Yes. Thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.